Everybody, hello. Welcome to the 734 here at WCCO. It's Wednesday, July 1st. I hope you ripped that page off your calendar. Oh, hi. Do people still do the big paper desk calendars? I do. And I ripped it off this morning. It's so satisfying. It feels so good. I don't know if the weather's going to feel that good today. Where are you guys on the hot weather? I feel like we've been trying so hard to come up with clever talker topics for this thing. We haven't done the obvious. Are you sick of the heat? It's going to be hot again today. Rain could be coming towards the Twin Cities. I don't know if it's going to make it. Riley's been watching the radar here at 7 this morning, and it looks like a big line of showers is kind of over the West Metro. If you're in the West Metro right now, you're probably getting rained on. Chance of isolated storms all day. High temperature in the mid-80s. He was saying today's going to be the cool day. Ugh, still muggy, right? So we'll see. The next 4 days are going to be in the 90s. At least it doesn't sound like the 4th of July will be 100 degrees, which is what it was looking like about a week ago. So anyway, that's today's weather. Let's talk about this. In the early morning hours, we learned about a pretty significant change for admissions at the University of Minnesota, and I really want to know what you guys think about this. Undergraduates applying for fall 2021. So that'll be like if you're a senior, a rising senior, I guess they call it, applying to go to the U next year. You don't have to submit an ACT or SAT score. They'll use your GPA, they'll use leadership you've done in activities and volunteer work and class, all the other metrics they use. But they said, look, it is so hard during the pandemic to schedule a test. They want to get rid of it. Students who don't submit a test score won't be in a disadvantage. But the U isn't the first school to waive test scores, so we want to know, should all schools follow suit? Not because of the pandemic. Should everybody get rid of ACT and SAT test scores? I'd love your comments. I wonder if your view on this depends on how well you did on the ACT or SAT when you were a kid. So we'll share your comments, and I will reveal what I got on the ACT coming up in just a couple of minutes. In the news today, baseball is back. Spring training. Well, you can't really call it spring training since it's July 1st, right? Major League Baseball's calling it summer camp. Twins players report to Target Field today. Going to be kind of boring, right? Because they're not doing their first organized workouts. Not quite the same as doing spring training down in Florida, although the weather will feel about the same. First workout Friday. Shorter season, about 60 games. League taking precautions for COVID-19. Opening day is supposed to be July 23rd or 24th. They're still working it out. And, well, as some players have tested positive for COVID-19. Let's hope that they're able to get it together. Today, we may get some answers to some of the questions surrounding why things went the way they did in the protests and then in some of the fires and the theft and the vandalism after George Floyd's death. Senate Republicans, their focus is on what went wrong with law enforcement and why. Lawmakers also working on help in the Promise Act, which would be the rebuilding aspect of this that passed through the House during the special session. If it gets through the Senate and gets the governor's okay in an additional special session, there will be grants and loans available for the business owners impacted. Minnesota's Insulin Affordability Act. Wow, a little bit of last minute kind of controversy over this because the act takes place today. But a trade group representing several pharmaceutical companies is suing the state of Minnesota to try to stop it from happening. Emergency insulin bill. Here's how it works. If you're diabetic, you can't afford your medicine. They don't want anyone to die because they can't pay for it. So you can get an emergency a supply of medicine, $35 copay. States requiring the drug companies to help with the supply, help subsidize the cost. But the trade group Pharma filed a suit basically saying that the state is like seizing their private property. They're saying it's unconstitutional. Governor Tim Walz is going to talk about the new law at a news conference this afternoon. Thousands of workers in St. Paul and Minneapolis are getting a raise today. If you make minimum wage, you get a raise. You'll start making up to $1 more per hour. That is significant, depending on the business size. The minimum wage is, if you work for a really small place under 100 people, maybe it's like $11.50. $12, something like that. And if you're working for a bigger company, it might be $13. The goal is to get this sucker up to $15 an hour as that phases in over the coming years. But as good as that is for workers, you got to think a lot of small businesses have been devastated because of COVID-19. Could be a challenge in this time anyway to pay those new wages. U.S. reported more than 40,000 new coronavirus cases yesterday. Dr. Anthony Fauci warns the pandemic could get much worse.
Clearly, we are not in total control right now. I would not be surprised if we go up to 100,000 a day.
Members of the White House task force told Congress that everybody should follow basic safety measures, and we've seen a big change on the mask issue, right? Republican senators and Congress people have been wearing masks, urging people to wear masks. A lot of people saying, you know, it'd be nice if the president would lead by example and put on a mask. More than a dozen states have paused or rolled back their economic reopenings. As other bars reopen, state health leaders are saying they're seeing more cases of COVID-19. So far, tests confirmed 200 cases of the virus linked to 4 different bars in Mankato, including Rounders and the 507. There's the College Club and Cowboy Jack's. 90 cases in Minneapolis are linked to those 2 bars. University of Minnesota says several of their student athletes are in isolation right now after they tested positive with COVID-19. The U tested 170 athletes in several sports over the last month, 7 positive. They'll go through more screening before being allowed to rejoin their teams. Europe's borders back open to tourists. They're dancing for joy. But you know who's not welcome? Us. Americans keep out. What has happened? How did we become the pariah? European Union sees Americans as too risky because as the U.S. continues to see record coronavirus cases, most of Europe has seen a decline. There's Athens. You're not going there. The American Academy of Pediatrics, how about this? Maybe this will give parents some comfort, or governments, as they decide whether our kids should go back to the physical school when it starts in the fall. They say kids need to go to school. Yeah. American Academy of Pediatrics saying they're updating their school recommendations. They're saying evidence shows the academic, mental, and physical benefits of in-person learning outweigh the risks from the coronavirus. The group added that schools are probably not greatly amplifying the spread of the virus. All right, remember the 4th of July on Lake Minnetonka last year? Nothing more American. You get in that boat, you get out on Lake Minnetonka, you go to Big Island, you tie up your boat with a couple hundred other hard bodies, you have a great time out on the lake, and then 100-some people feel sick, and then they all go on the news the next week talking about the mysterious illness in Big Island, which all the medical experts believe is just people using Lake Minnetonka as a toilet. So, happy COVID-19 season on the lake, right? The people who regulate the lake trying to drive home the message like, hey, we don't want you to get that intestinal business again, and we don't want you to get COVID-19, so follow the social distancing guidelines.
We're still not recommending people tie up because it's like a domino effect. People don't know who's all part of who's doing it correctly, who isn't. We have 14,000 acres on this lake. I think you can find a spot to enjoy it nicely.
All right, so last year, they couldn't get people to not use the lake as a toilet, and they think this year they're going to get people to not tie up close to each other and party on Big Island? Okay. Good luck. Go visit downtown Wayzata right now. I'll tell you, the rich people out there seem to think coronavirus is over. So, good luck. Try to be smart. If you're going to go to the lake, just use your head. We don't want anybody getting sick, so be smart about it. Walker Art Center in Minneapolis is nearly ready to welcome back guests. COVID closed the museum in March. Walker says we're ready. We're ready to reopen. They'll open to members of the museum late next week, and then mid-July, which is the following week, I think, then the general public will be welcome back. Masks required, as is the case in all public buildings in Minneapolis. Social distancing as well. Gallery hours will be limited, so they'll sell tickets online, and should work out great. So good news for the museums kind of opening up again. You need somewhere to beat the heat. Maybe you don't want to be in the AC inside the Walker. How about the wading pools in Minneapolis? 20 of them reopening on the 4th of July. Park Board chose some spots that aren't near lakes. Really smart, like trying to make sure whatever neighborhood you live in, you have access to some sort of water to cool down a bit. Bathrooms, though, will be closed at these, so bear that in mind. And also the drinking fountains won't be activated. So it's BYO water bottle, BYOWB, I think is how they say it. So make sure you're ready for the hot weather we're going to see for sure over the coming days. All right, let's get back to today's talker, ACT. Eric Henderson is here. Do you remember what you got on the ACT?
I think it was like 57 or something.
Not possible.
Oh, okay.
36 is the top.
Then it was probably closer to 7.
Closer to 7, yes. There was a 7 in it, you remember? All right, let's see what people say, and then I will reveal my score. Obviously, it's a good score. I wouldn't have said it.
You better lie about it. Cindy says, I was not a good test taker. I don't think that ACT or SAT scores are a good way to determine a person's intelligence.
I agree.
And it would be
Riley
nice.
and I were talking about this before. He agrees, too.
Megan said colleges are going to be taking a huge hit over the next couple of years. It's my opinion that the ACTs are a good guide for where an individual student is at, but should not determine acceptance.
All right.
Those left turn at the end.
Yeah, and I do think like school admissions counselors and processes have used this as one indicator where back in the day it was like, hey, if you don't get this score, you're not even going to be considered.
Right. And Diana said, I never took the ACT, but several of my kids did. They were totally stressed out worrying about their scores.
It's stressful.
Yeah.
People spend a lot of money to send their kids to test prep and all this sort of stuff. Like, I don't know, like it'd be better if if your kids were taking part in a school club or an after-school activity or volunteering or creating websites. I don't know.
Yeah. Hands-on learning.
Intern for WCCO.com. I do think most people who say they don't like tests got bad scores.
Yeah.
I got a 31.
Oh, actually, that was my real score.
You got 31
Same.
too? Yeah. 31. That's a good score.
Yeah, I like that score.
Yeah. Eric and I are really, really smart. Just ask us. We'll tell you all about it.
See where it gets you in life.
Yeah, and I'm just kidding. I don't like test score. It's not a good metric. It's just like, it's such a snapshot. In
No,
time.
I was a total B student.
Were you?
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe I got
Good testing.
I got it together by high school, but yeah.
All right. Well,
Junior high, I was a B student for sure.
yeah. I got a full scholarship to Marquette. I used to be smart.
And I just got this lousy t-shirt.
And then 25 years of local television news, and now this is what you get. The 7:34. We'll see you tomorrow.